Alright. Hi everyone, my name is Morn and this is Fallout New Vegas. This is my favorite game in the Fallout series. It's one I've been wanting to play on my stream and for YouTube for a very long time. I've had it way back in the day when it first came out on Xbox 360, and ever since then I've been working on an arrangement of the special stats, your main mechanic of the game, to basically allow myself to do whatever run I want from one pure raw set of stats. I don't have to think about that anymore. And we're going to show that off in this little bit of a run, and we're also going to show off a mod for the PC version called Nevada Skies, which changes the weather from being generic brownish gray clouds all the time to actually being interesting. So we're going to have a look at that in just a minute. I'm going to turn up the volume of the game, and then we're going to have a look at the intro. And unfortunately, clicking out of the game causes the silence to happen. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So let's get started. So we're going to get a whole bunch of stuff here by virtue of having the Courier's pack. It's a collection of all the pre-order bonuses that you could have gotten from the different places. GameStop, Best Buy, what have you. Amazon, I think, had one of them. But then they released them all as a DLC pack that you could get all four of them at once. So we're going to go ahead and just have a whole bunch of free stuff that we're going to be able to use to our advantage here. Yeah, we're going to be called Susan, of course, because I always name character Susan. Wells. So this is your general Fallout character generation stuff. We have subtitles, so I don't feel too bad about talking over it here. So let's do some. Let's go ahead and make ourselves a Susan. We choose a default kind of face. I always like this one. And then we can go in and we can kind of change it up a little bit if we want to. I don't really feel a need to. I kind of like it just as it is. We are going to do. Well, we already have green eyes. Perfect. So I think we're just going to stick with that default look. But then we'll put on some different hair. We can do like some very classic 50s hair, which I'm always a fan of in this game. We can do something like this, a little more classy and traditional. We can do a bun. We can have a bun. The sophisticate, which is another kind of tied back hair. I like it too. Frazzled. And then we start getting into the weird futuristic stuff, if you're into that sort of thing. Rude Ridge, blah, 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 blah. I think we're going to go with the either the no nonsense or the prim and proper. I think we'll just use the prim and proper. And we're going to make her, because we don't have access to a fire starter like in the Pokemon games, we're going to make her a redhead. We're going to turn up the red just a bit here. There we go. And that's what we look like. I love just that effect. So we have WASD and mouse controls. And, yeah. Pretty much everything in Doc Mitchell's house is takeable, but we got so much free stuff, we don't really need to take very much of it, and I don't want to deprive the guy of all his belongings. Now here's where it gets exciting. Here's where I have been working off and on, mostly off, for years to craft what I consider to be a good, versatile arrangement of stats. So we're just going to look at all the stats and see what they all do, and then we will come back at the end and we'll arrange them, alright? So strength is exactly what it sounds like. It affects some good it affects your damage, it affects a couple of types of weapons. You have certain weapons you can't really use well if you don't have high enough strength, blah 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 blah. Perception is an exciting one. It affects some really useful things. Explosives, lockpicking. It affects your accuracy on just regular old combat. It affects your ability to see things from a distance, but as we'll see, that doesn't really accomplish much for us by the time the game's over. It's not an unimportant stat, but it's not the best to worry about. Endurance doesn't seem to do much, but I consider endurance, if you're running in the Ultimate Edition, which has all the DLC with it, to be the king of stats. This is a stat we are going to want a lot of. And the reason we're going to want a lot of it is because we can have implants which raise all other stats, but the number of implants that we have is limited by our endurance. So every point of endurance up to a point is like having 2 total points of stats, because you can buy more implants and raise your other stats to compensate. So we'll be putting a lot into that one. Charisma affects 3 things you might consider to be important. It affects your barter skill, which determines how much you pay for things, how much you get back from things. Unlike, say, Shadow Hearts, we don't have to win a Judgment Ring to get discounts. We can just earn them through shenanigans. Speech is typically one of the kings of skills in Fallout. The ability to talk people out of murdering you and talk them into murdering other people for you is really, really important. Companion Nerve is a thing that improves the people who run around with us. For every point of charisma, they get 5% extra to their damage and to their armor. So as important as I made that sound, we are dumping that because it is effectively a dump stat in the game, and we'll get into why. And right now, actually, barter and speech are skills and can thus be raised by skill points, whereas companion nerve is unnecessary because your companions are already really strong, so they don't need the boost. It's nice to have, but it doesn't really make them live longer, and the companions you tend to use will basically kill things with whether you have 1 charisma or 10, so we're not going to worry too much about it. Intelligence. Intelligence in the base game is the best stat you can have. It is the original king of stats. It was supplanted by endurance because you have 20 more levels worth of skill points to gain, which intelligence modifies. And with that many more levels, it's easier to get a lot of skill points and max things out. So you don't need intelligence as much, but it affects 3 really important skills, and we'll definitely be putting some points into it. Agility. Agility affects your ability to move around. It also affects your ability to shoot. And action points, which we'll get into when we learn about VATS at some point in the future. If we do more than one stream of this, anyway. You definitely want some points in this. There's a lot of perks that require agility to have, so you definitely want to have it sitting at a minimum of 6 after the implant. We're probably going to start with 6. That's the way I've built the character. Luck. Luck is a skill that does a lot in this particular game, even compared to other Fallouts. Luck affects your critical hit chance. 1 point of luck is 1 point of critical hit chance. All skills get half your luck rounded up to their skill points. Enemy mishaps is not really a thing you see much, so don't worry about that. But in New Vegas, we have gambling. And when you gamble in New Vegas, the frequency of good hands, the frequency of winning hands you shouldn't, is determined by your luck. You're not playing with a regular old deck of cards in blackjack. It is rigged, based on your luck. If you have a low luck, it's rigged against you. If you have a high luck, it's rigged in your favor more often. And you really want to win a lot of money in the casinos because that's a good way to get a lot of the more expensive things you need with very low effort. And indeed, our run will be based on getting to New Vegas as quickly as possible to clear out one of the casinos to get an early intelligence implant for more skill points. So, with that all having been said, let's have a look at what I'm going to do with it. We have 5 points to divide out, and we're going to start with 6 in strength. We're going to throw 8 in endurance total. We're dumping charisma completely because we don't need it. We're going for 7 in intelligence, 6 in agility, and 7 in luck. With this, we can do basically anything you want to do unless you were doing a gimmick run. If you were doing a run that is about having high charisma, of course throw points into it. If you're doing a run that is like low intelligence run, that's awesome. I've done that run. It's fun. So if you're not doing one of those kind of runs, though, you really can't go wrong with a layout like this one. There's a bit of room to wiggle. You could put your 6 in perception instead of agility, whatever. This is just the way I like to build it. But something in this line is going to do a lot of good for you. Doc Mitchell will have a comment based on what you do for your... Oh yeah, we can jump by pressing space. Yay! Let's have a look at ourselves here. Alright, so this whole questionnaire thing is what's going to determine the default tag skills that you get. A tag gives you 15 extra points to a given skill, and you get 3 of them. We can ultimately do whatever we want with them. So we're going to roleplay this out a little bit and see if the game gives us the ones I want. I've actually got a backstory for Susan Wells here, which is why she's not named Mary Susan Nathan. That one, too.
Last
one. Let's take that one.
Well, that's all she wrote. You don't have nothing to compare it to, so maybe you'd better just have a look at the results. See if it all seems right.
See, here's where we have the opportunity to change them up. Very close. For role-playing purposes, we're going to take those, our tag skills. We have a 33 sneak, and as you'll see, we'll actually be doing pretty okay with a lot of this stuff. Nathan says he saw 2 people high-fiving in that last one, and that's very common. There's actually a character in the Honest Hearts DLC called 2 Bears High-Fiving because that's what people really wanted to answer for that particular Rorschach test and couldn't because it's not a choice. There are mods to add that to the choice list, but meh.
Before I turn you loose, I need one more thing from you. You got a form for you to fill out so I can get a sense of it.
So here's where we get traits.
Just the formality. Ain't like I expect to find you got a family history of getting shot.
Alright, traits. There's a bunch of them. We can choose up to 2 traits or we can choose none of them. I'm going to tell you guys right now, in my personal opinion, all these have their moments and you build your character however you want past the special, of course. For my money, good-natured is one of the best traits in the entire game. I'll show you why. We'll highlight it and we'll scroll down. We gain +5 to barter, medicine, repair, science, and speech. These are skills every character will use throughout the game constantly. Medicine determines how much you get back with stim packs and such. It's also useful for some skill checks. Repair is fixing up your stuff. You're really going to need that one. Science. All these skills are very, very useful to have. It get -5 to all weapon skills. Energy weapons, explosives, guns, melee weapons, and unarmed. The thing is, unless you're making a character whose entire purpose is to master all 5 weapon types, which is a thing you can do, you're not going to use probably more than 2, maybe 3 of those regularly. So early on in the game, you're giving up 2 or 3 skills worth of 5 points to get 5 skills worth of 5 points. You're always going to use the 5 you get bonuses to. You're getting more than you're giving up. So I like that one a lot. The other one we're going to be taking is Skilled. Skilled is, for my money, the very best trait in the entire game. You get plus 5 points to every skill. That is 65 free skill points. You suffer 10% penalty to experience gain. There is so much experience in the game that if you did not have that, you would reach level 50 probably before you wanted to. Taking the 10 experience point penalty makes the game more interesting. You don't level up too quickly, and the game's enemies scale to your level. So all the challenges remain appropriate, but you get the free skill points. It's practically all upside. And there's even a thing we can abuse, and we will, an exploit in the game that will let us do even more with this trait. Some other good traits, just in case you're going to pick them out and you don't really want to know all of them. A lot of people don't like Wild Wasteland. I'm a fan. It makes the game funnier. It adds a lot of little comedy bits. You can find holy frag grenades out in the world. You can get an alien ray gun. You know, what happens to a super mutant shot with an alien ray gun? Same thing that happens to everything else. You can find an Indiana Jones in a fridge that's been nuked to death. You know, there's a lot of little funny things added in. But they tend to replace more serious things and some things you probably don't necessarily want replaced in some cases. It's up to you. It's a good one if you like the funny things. We're playing a more serious run though, with a more realistic bent towards the character, so we're going to avoid it. There's other interesting ones. There's Four Eyes, which lowers your perception by 1. But gives you plus 2 perception when you're wearing glasses, or plus 3 when you're wearing the almighty lucky shades. If you are to take, or if you're going to take 4 Eyes, I recommend putting 6 in perception and 5 in agility with this build. You can go ahead and boost your perception and agility back up to 6 through implants, and you're going to need that to qualify for some perks that you may want. And there are some other good ones. Most of them have benefits and penalties. You know, that's all the thing.
Alright, I guess that about does it. Come with me, I'll see you out.
Alright. A little more ooh la la here. Let's just a little something for the Nathan. Alright. So we can run back around. I don't want to just rob the guy of all of his things, but there's a few things we should probably take. Reading glasses we don't want necessarily because we're not 4 Eyes. Doctor's bag we're going to want. We can fix this 9mm submachine gun, and we have an extra gun to sell, which is always handy. We can create some stim packs, which we'll need later on, probably, because I'm terrible at video games, as is usually established. And if you're playing the game for yourself and you're not role-playing a specifically nice kind of person, you should clean Doc Mitchell out. Take all of his stuff. As it is, we're just going to steal his hat and these bottle caps. Alright.
Here, these are yours. It was all you had on you when you was brought in. I hope you don't mind, but I gave the note a look. I thought it might help me find an extra kin. But it was just something about a platinum chip. Well, if you're heading back out there, you ought to have this. They call it a Pip-Boy. I grew up in one of them vaults they made before the war. We all got one. Ain't much use to me now, but you might want such a thing after what you've been through. I know what it's like having something taken from you.
Aw, poor Doc Mitchell.
Put this on too, so the locals don't pick on you for lacking modesty. It was my wife's. I think she was about your size, and she hardly wore it after.
We won't be wearing it for very long either.
It was too brazen.
Alright. So we're good-natured. We're going to roleplay that.
Don't mention it. It's what I'm here for. You should talk to Sunny Smiles.
We won't be doing that.
She can help you learn to fend for yourself in the desert. She'll likely be at the saloon. I reckon some of the other folks at the saloon might be able to help you out too. And the metal fella, Victor, who pulled you out of your grave. Anyway, you ever get hurt out there, you come right back. I'll fix you up. But try not to get killed anymore.
Hardcore mode. This build actually works really, really well in hardcore mode. We're not turning it on because I don't like it very much. But if you want a more realistic bent to your game with ammo having weight and you starving to death if you don't eat food, blah, 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 it's a lot of fun. It really is. If you're the kind of person who wants a little more survival in your post-apocalyptic survival, I recommend turning it on. I've done the run once. I don't want to do it again personally, though. Alright, looks like there's some things in here. Even our mediocre perception can pick them up. Oh, we don't want to auto move. That's bad. What was the VATS button again? I think it's V for VATS. Yeah. Yep. Okay. V for VATS. The Vault-Tec assisted survival guide. We're going to actually use right mouse button to return and then just shoot it normally. We get a whole 1 experience per each of these that we kill. So there's that. Nope. Okay. So let's do the thing we came here for. We can't actually open the lock because we don't have the lock picking skill for it. So we're going to have to find another way in. We don't actually know the correct location. We just know how many letters match match where they are in the password. So, for example, if we pick Banning, 3 of 7 are correct, which means we know that of these, 3 of the letters that we saw are actually in the right place. Harness does not, or it only has 2 in common, so we don't want to grab that one. Uranium has 1, 2 in common. See, most of these ing words don't quite have it. So maybe we can draw a little bit more information out by picking one that's close enough, right? Most of these ing words also have N, so they have 4 letters in common. That's the problem with them. Routing has 3 in common. Maybe it's the right answer. And now we can use this to get into the safe. And we can shut down. We can go in here and we can get all this free stuff. Mentats, Rebound, Stim Pack, Pre-War Money. The real key here is this Stealth Boy. This is one of the most important things that we get in this early game. We're taking everything not nailed down because we have the ability to carry it all. But that Stealth Boy is the entire reason we came here. Alright, as we continue to move, we will eventually be offered the opportunity to rebuild our character, which, because of shenanigans, is an opportunity we're going to take. We just got to get far enough out of this town, and the option will be given to us. If we had Wild Wasteland, right about here is where we would find a fridge with a Suave Gambler hat and a skeleton in it. Suave Gambler hat looks an awful lot like this hat we're wearing right now. I wonder what that's a reference to. Oh yeah, we don't need this thing. We move faster without it. We are going to be given the opportunity to rebuild our character, right? Video game? There it is. Let's rebuild character. This is all good. Keep this all the same. So far, so good. This looks like all our skill points as we know them. And now we can double up on these and get extra points in everything. That's it, we're done. It recalculated our experience based on what we'd earned. If we go into our skill points now, we have huge bonuses to everything. Way above what we should have. At the very least, we get bonuses for... yeah. Alright. See that? It says stay away. There are death claws. Let's save. Just like any good RPG, save early, save often, and save in separate slots. All of these things are super important to you. Especially now, because we're about to make the Deathclaw Hell Run. The key to the Deathclaw Hell Run is to always be looking. We have a Stealth Boy because it makes it so we have plus 100 stealth and a stealth field, meaning that we simply cannot be seen. Deathclaws can detect by sound and smell, though, so it's not a perfect disguise or, invisibility to them. It does help. See? That little thing that's moving over there? That is a Deathclaw. That is the end of your life if it sees you and gets to touch you at this point in the game. You do not, under any circumstances, want to tangle with that yet. Eventually we hunt them for fun and profit. Alright, let's get back to Deathclaw Hell here. Up there is Black Mountain. That is a super mutant haven. It is another place where messing around will get you ended quickly. Hi, Deathclaw. But you can skirt the edges of it to avoid some of Deathclaw Hell, which is what we're going to do. Because we have the smarts. And I have the experience to know how to do this. Uh-oh. We're safe for the moment in spite of that caution flag, so let's save. I lied. Oh god, did I lie. Woohoo! Let's go. We got... Fortunately, we weren't moving, so he didn't hear us. That helps a lot. Hey, 1,000 is a lot, Nathan. That's a lot of saves. Alright, right up here is usually where there is a death claw to, punish you for having been this clever. Like that one right there. Hi, death claw. Oh, bother. Oh, bother. Oh, bother again. Bye. Run! Run, Bazil, your life depends upon it because it does. Forget stealth. Oh, damn. So, alright, so we're going to take a different route around. Some way I normally wouldn't take. Just to see if it's a little less Deathclaw intensive over this way. Oh, that sounds like thunder. That mod, man. If we can run this side of it and there's no Deathclaws over here, we can get through. Oh boy. I see you. Let's try to use some of the high... Oh, god damn it! Run! Oh. Deathclaws have excellent hearing and high perception. Fudge. Bye, we're dead. Ow. How many Deathclaws just tried to kill me? Let's try a very, very, very different route. Let's use the game's mechanics and world shaping to our advantage a little bit here if we can. May not be possible. It all depends on what the game feels like letting you get away with. And it doesn't look like the answer to that is very much. This doesn't look healthy, but at least we're not getting irradiated from it. See if we can do a little rock climbing. Alright, here we go. Here's a way to avoid a lot of it. I had decided didn't want to try it right away, but you can get around quite a bit of the Deathclaw hell just by going up here. Not all of it, and it's still a bit of a tense run here at the end, but you can avoid quite a bit of the danger. It's especially bad when your stealth boy wears off. Over there is our destination. If we can get there in one piece... Them landings. See what's ahead of us here. I don't see any Deathclaws, but that doesn't mean they aren't there. Keep your eyes on that hidden up top. If it changes to anything else, we be in the troubles. Let's see what's down here in front of us. Looks pretty clear. We might be in with a chance from this side of things. In fact, I feel so confident we're going to make a save. Always good to save often. Oh, we discovered Repcon headquarters. We need to avoid discovering things, for the most part, to minimize our experience gain right now. So let's just have a quick peek behind us. I don't think there's any deadly death claws of death anywhere near us at this point. I think we're through. There's a lot of stuff near New Vegas to actually be found, and locations-wise. So we're going to end up discovering a few of them. It's unavoidable. There's a couple we will want to know where they are for later use. But yep. We have gone through. We are going to be able to make it to the strip from here. It should not be a problem. We don't want to discover the strip yet because it will gain probably 4 levels at once. And we might do that before I go back and actually run the main story off stream. But yeah. We have, for all intents and purposes, successed. At least for the moment. Once I get my intelligence implant, I can gain all the levels I want, but until then, I would prefer not to have too many of them. I think I can get to level 2 without losing a skill point, but I really don't want to lose skill points. It's the whole point of this build. Once you get past the usual shenanigans of doing the ideal special array anyway, it's all about skill points. Ooh, barrel cactus. As a survivalist, we'll be able to do things with that. Our background even comes into play. There are some pretty nasty nasties around here, like the fiends are a thing that can do bad things to us if they run into us. There are some enemy types that we don't want to touch, and so on and so forth. But as far as I'm aware, ooh, look at the pretty night sky. As far as I'm aware, we should be relatively in the clear. Of course, my perception's only 5, so take that with a grain of something approaching salt. That is the Lucky 38, all lit up. It's pretty. I think we're a little south from where I wanted to be. I think that's the NCR Sharecropper Farms, which I don't yet want to discover. So we'll just avoid that. Oh hey, it's nighttime. We should turn on our Pip-Boy light. We discovered Freeside's East Gate. Excellent. Let's enter Freeside. And the reason we want to be on this side of things, let's stand up, is because we're looking for this store right here, Mick and Ralph's. Hey, Mick.
Welcome to Mick and Ralph's. If you need guns, I'm your man. For general supplies and other services, see my partner Ralph. Why? You work for one of the casinos?
Oh.
All of my guns are special. If anything catches your eye, let me know.
Alright, it doesn't matter. The thing we want doesn't require us to have access to a special inventory anyway. It's right here. And getting that is going to be a bitch. So let's dive right in.
Come back.
Alright, we got ourselves some naughty nightwear. Let's put it on. First of all, let's repair our hat with this other hat we found. And now a little something for the fellas. But that's not why we got the stuff. Ooh, I like this. Just... Oh, God! Bye! Run for our lives! I'm not here to fight, I'm here to gamble.
We've got stuff we're not even allowed to sell, people.
Don't care about your calls. We gotta go. Kangs, help! Alright. Yeah, okay, we're safe. This is where we wanted to get to the whole time, right here. Great, saving.
Hey. Welcome to the Atomic Wrangler. Looking to exchange?
I'm not going to be doing this much live. I do want to show it off,
How
though.
many chips would you like?
We're going to start with 100.
Here's your chips. Till next.
We'll see how well I do. Let's go ahead and come right over to the blackjack tables and let's save. After all, we made it in one piece. Let's play some blackjack. And let's just bet the wad. Okay. And we lost everything. So I'm going to demo this real quick. If we reload our save, and we want to play immediately, the game will actually stop us for a minute to keep us from just pure save scumming. But it's still a totally viable technique. So I'm going to go away from the stream and just get myself a bunch of money, then run over to the New Vegas Medical Clinic and get the intelligence thing, and then go back and play through the game. Next time I go live with this, I will probably be much further in the game than I am now. So, if I go live with this again, I will see you soon. Otherwise, my name has been Morn, and thank you all very much for watching. And take care.